You know that world map you've got in your head? The one with all those neat, color-coded lines firmly separating one nation from another? Well, what if I told you that from an economic standpoint, that map is kind of lying to you? It's true. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're undertaking a rapid-fire briefing on a concept that literally redraws the map as we know it. We're diving into domestic territory. So get ready, because we are about to totally challenge your geographical assumptions.
Seriously, think about it for a second. Where do a country's borders actually end? Most of us would instantly point to a physical coastline, right? Or maybe a river or a fenced-in border. But in the realm of economics, physical geography just doesn't always equal economic reality. The borders we're talking about today are largely invisible. They shift, they jump around based on political and economic rules, not just mountains and valleys. To accurately measure a nation's true wealth, economists really have to act like strategic mapping analysts. They basically throw out the old atlas and create a completely different kind of map. Let's look at how this builds.
The absolute crucial point here is establishing our baseline rule. Domestic territory starts with the geographical or political boundary of a country. That's our foundation. If you picture a country, let's just say the one you're living in right now, you start by drawing a conceptual line right around its physical, internationally recognized borders. Simple enough, right? That is the baseline. But we have to lock in this starting point before we begin digitally redrawing the map, because what happens next is where the economic map radically, and I mean radically, breaks away from the physical one.
Okay, here's the plot twist. We are literally carving pieces out of our country and aggressively annexing pieces from abroad. First, we have to erase certain areas right inside our physical boundaries. Got foreign embassies? What about international institutions like the United Nations or World Health Organization offices sitting right down the street in your capital city? Economically speaking, they are excluded. Bam, gone. They are not part of your domestic territory. But then, conversely, we reach all the way across the globe and we include our own embassies located outside our geographical borders. So, an embassy located thousands of miles away in a foreign capital, legally and economically, that is considered part of our domestic territory. It's wild. It just brilliantly illustrates how economic borders are practically leaping over oceans.
Now, you might be sitting there wondering, why go through all this trouble to create this invisible jumping map? Well, we need to connect these newly drawn borders to their ultimate economic purpose. First up, we have to identify production units, the factories and businesses that fall strictly within this new hyper-specific boundary we just defined. Second, we calculate the final goods and services they produce. And remember, we only care about the final goods here, the things the economy ultimately wants, just to avoid double counting. And third, we measure the total money value of all of that over a single year. We literally built this specific invisible fence to track exactly what the units inside of it are actually making.
And that brings us to the bottom line. Domestic product, or domestic income, is defined as the money value of final goods and services produced in a year by the production units located within the domestic territory of a country. Every single word in that definition absolutely matters. If we just used a regular old geographical map, our economic calculations would be completely wrong. We'd accidentally include the economic output of a foreign embassy just because it's sitting in our capital, or we'd completely miss the output of our own embassies operating abroad. By precisely defining domestic territory, economists can calculate exactly how much wealth a nation is generating on its own economic soil, regardless of where that soil is physically located.
It completely changes how you look at the globe, doesn't it? If economic borders are invisible, and they're constantly shifting, it makes you wonder how much of our daily economy actually operates outside the physical lines we were taught in school. Next time you walk past a foreign embassy or a UN building, remember, economically speaking, you are looking at a completely different country. I hope this explainer gave you a whole new lens through which to view the world and showed you exactly why getting the map right is the absolute first step to understanding national income. Keep questioning those boundaries and keep exploring the real economic map.